12 minutes. Keep watching.
We have states, and then it's like it's our last week at the same time.
Once an Eagle, always an Eagle is one of our sayings here.
Win or lose, cheer our kids on.
You watching PG13.
And welcome everybody to the PG13 After Show. I'm Dave Owens, your host. And look who we have here for our final show of the year. The Frederick Douglass Eagles are in the house. Give them some love. Give them some love. Frederick Douglass Eagles in the house. Appreciate you guys stopping through. What a great show, and what a great way to sort of finish things off. I'll get all the introductions out of the way here in just a second, but for the people at home who don't know, the PG13 After Show is really our effort to really celebrate, I think, the best and the brightest of scholar athletes, coaches, parents, school communities in Prince George's County Public Schools. We talk about things on and off the field, and there's no better way to do that than with the Frederick Douglass Eagles. And so I'm going to do some introductions here. A man that you really don't need to introduce because you know his face. He's been around Prince George's County Public Schools and Maryland football, the region, for many years. Julius Pinckney, Coach, always a pleasure to catch up with you. You do a fantastic job at Douglass.
You do great work in our community. We appreciate it.
We appreciate you, man. We certainly appreciate you. Mark Mason over here to my left, senior, wide receiver, defensive back. He returns. He does a little bit of everything, doesn't he? Track man extraordinaire, outstanding scholar as well off the field. So we appreciate having you here in our studios as well. Jody Tolbert all the way over to my right, big fella, running back extraordinaire who had a fantastic game in the semifinals against Dunbar. We'll talk about that. Junior, running back, defensive back. And I just found out, kid's a punter.
Yeah.
Like, all-county punter too, man?
Very good one, man. He's a very good one, too.
Does a little bit of everything. 3.3 grade point average as well, so he's getting it done off the field as well. I know you're very proud of that. But I'm not the only one who talks during this. We have a co-host, and she is here. I want you all to introduce Sharice Hoffman and say hello to her on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hi, Sharice.
Hello.
What's going on, Sharice? It's always great to have you with us. You're our social media coordinator, but really, you are our co-host as well. You always like to get the show started. So what do you have for us today?
Yes, so to get the show started, you all had a great season, being the first runner-ups in the championship this year. So explain to me a key factor that your team had as a whole that contributed to your success this season. Mark,
you want to handle that one first? A key factor for this season? What do you think?
I believe the key factor to having success was being a team for real, because you can't have a team without team chemistry. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like you need that team bond and that team build to be successful. If you don't have that, I don't know what else you would need to be successful.
Yeah, you guys certainly were a tight group. Jody, what about you, man?
I feel like the losses really helped us because, everybody can win, everybody can take a win, but it's when you lose, it's like what really makes you how you really act.
Sure.
And, when we lost, sometimes we had little, bumps in the road, but it brought us together and brought us closer and made us the team that we were.
Coach, I know it must feel good to hear your players say that because, and Jody brought up an interesting point, how you guys reacted in the losses says a lot about the character of your football team. And I would assume you would think that character had a lot to do with the success of your team this year.
It did. And the kids, man, we had a tough schedule. And like I said before, we were depleted too with some key starters now. And kids have stepped up. It was a lot of noise outside of the locker room, and some kind of trickled into the locker room, and we got all that cleaned up. And the guys, they understood the big picture, and we got it done.
It's easy to do the interviews and be together when you're winning, but Frederick Douglass really proved that you guys were a solidified unit even when you didn't have that success. Says a lot about the character of your football team, of your school community, and we'll talk more about that as this show goes on. Sharice, I'm going to go back over to you because I know you want to talk about how people at home can get involved with the show. It's an interactive show. Tell them a little bit about how their voices can be heard during this show today.
Yes, so on the side of the live stream there is a comment section.
Yeah.
And feel free to leave any comments or any questions that you may have for the Eagles, and I will ask them, and you will get your answers.
Yeah, we want to hear from you, and we know the Frederick Douglass Nation comes correct. This PG-13 episode has been viewed over 10,000 times between Facebook and YouTube. So great on the great community of Frederick Douglass out there. Principal Scott, I know you're listening out there, so if you're there, we always appreciate your support as well. And like I say, it's an interactive show, so we want to get you involved. And I got a shout out too. I'm going to shout somebody out. I got some people who might be watching today. Mr. Blaze, Mr. B, and your wonderful mom. Appreciate you always supporting this show. So even if you only get a couple of minutes to listen today, we appreciate having you here as well. You and your wonderful mom as well. Happy holidays to you. So to all the folks out there, and especially Mr. B, thank you very much for listening and watching. And but that gives us a way to segue on to, Coach, just this season. I remember when we spoke on the phone, you talked about this group and how you had some ups and downs, maybe not as talented as you've been in years past, but there was something really special about this group.
Yeah, it was. And, and the kids, the thing is, you just can't measure the kids' heart. And, when we got into those tough matches, our kids, they didn't fold. And we had a lot of tough games, the 1-point losses and stuff like that. Everything was just a 1-score loss. And so, our kids, it was tough because, you gut it out and you leave everything out on the field and you come up a little short and, you feel kind of empty-handed. And, but at the same token, I think when our kids, they realized that the people we were playing against, they had the upper hand, with, in some cases. And so, but we showed that we can play with anyone. And then that resonated with them. And they just showed up to play, and we got on a run.
Yeah, and as a senior, I know when you're a senior, you have to be a leader, whether you want to be a leader or not. Yeah. What were the challenges, you think, to keeping this team together? Were there times when the seniors had to come together and say, hey, let's keep this thing together because maybe we're not undefeated, but we've still got some things that we can get done in this season? How were the seniors instrumental in keeping this ship afloat, so to speak?
We had to make sure we was doing our part. That's the most important part, because if we did our part, more people will watch what we do, and they'll,
follow you guys,
follow us, and do because we did have a young team and shit. So it's like if we do our job, we'll know that they'll follow in our footsteps and make the right decision.
The seniors set the example, no doubt about that. Jody, I'll get to your comments here in just a second, and then Sharice, I'll get back to you. But I want to show this clip because we spent some time with your group during the week as you headed in to the state finals. And really, this first clip, we're going to talk about the season's journey. Not every season's journey is the same. A couple of years ago, you guys went 14-0, and there weren't a lot of obstacles in your way. This year was a little bit different. So for the folks who haven't seen it, we're going to show them this clip at home. It's the season's journey of the Frederick Douglass Eagles. Let's take a look right now.
5 years straight. Our guys, man, they knocked out Lackey last year. The Lackey team that beat us.
We're a thin team, and we're very inexperienced. We sustained major injuries early on, and we were a little depleted.
Look at this wall. This is perfect.
I feel like we exceeded other people's expectations. My goal coming into the year, especially knowing that I was going to be a big part of it, was we're going to win states.
The guys started gaining confidence because we were still winning, even with missing people. And so that kind of brought us together.
15 minutes. All right, we out. Let's go.
It's just been the goal since day one. Since I came in, I felt like we could do it.
I can hear this wind out here. It's cold, Coach.
Yeah, but I tell you what, it's probably colder in Western Maryland, So right now, we're going to make the best of the elements, man, and do what we do. We're just fortunate, to be in this place and still practicing at this moment.
Hey, let's go.
We've taken this team so far, and this team has taken itself so far. It's an overachieving team. That was a big game during our regular season that we wanted to win, and we fell short. So we had a lot of exterior noise and some internal noise, and the kids were kind of fractured after that game.
In study hall, we had a heart-to-heart team meeting, and we just talked about everything. Whatever you got on your chest, just say it right now. We just went on from there.
For our kids to come together and to see and recognize that we played some really good teams. So we were like 16 points from being undefeated. And once our kids wrap their minds around that, I think it started to click for them that we can do something special.
Wow, 16 points from being undefeated. So you guys were close. I mean, you guys were in a lot of football games this year.
Yeah. And and that's a testament to the kids believing in what we're doing as a team,
staff,
and the staff, and and also with them just being able to execute and keep a clear head and stay focused and show up ready to play every week.
One of the people that the folks at home just saw in that video, Jody Tolbert, running back extraordinaire. I remember when we spoke that week. Hey, it's good to see you keep it together in that wind too. It wasn't easy out there during that interview.
Freezing.
I know it was freezing that week. It's like 60 degrees today. I don't know. It was colder then, but you said something that struck me because you said your expectations coming into the season were already high. Mm-hmm. Maybe others were lower, but yours was high. Some of that had to do with last year and how you used that as a springboard to this year. Just give me your mindset as you came into this season and how you used that to kind of put you in position to make big plays.
Coming into the season, at the end of the season, my sophomore year, I had a talk with Coach P about what my role be next year, and he said, I'll be an important part of the team. So from there, I took it upon myself to, become a leader because I knew I was going to be an important role, talking to the young guys, making sure everybody was at practice. Mm-hmm. And, throughout the summertime, 7-on-7 or other stuff, I was looking at the team, even though we're not the biggest team, we might not be the fastest team or the strongest team, but I just felt like that bond, this was the team.
Yeah, it was a tight, solidified unit, and nothing tested that tightness more than that Gwynn Park game. I know that you lose to your crosstown rival, the Battle of 301. Listen, you always want to beat your rival. When it doesn't work out, it's tough. You guys really had to bring it together with some team meetings and some togetherness after that game. Kind of talk about that.
It's pretty much because we just, at that point in time, it was a rough. After that, losing to Gwynn Park, that's the Battle of 301.
Yeah.
It can't get no better than that. But it's just after that game, we really had to that's when our tough schedule came. So we had to get an understanding, y'all, we gotta get on this. After that game, we really seen what we can do. It's what else?
And Coach, people don't realize sometimes the psychological work that coaches have to do. Listen, your record is outstanding. You've got trophies in the trophy case, but so much of your work oftentimes is keeping young men together. That wasn't an easy time. How are you and the rest of the coaching staff able to do that?
Oh, man, and that's a big part of game planning.
Sure.
Is, making sure that you understand the psyche of your players, and then also making sure that you have a perspective of what your opponent, how they view you.
Sure.
And, have to be able to convey that message to our guys, and so we can prepare them for what we're up against mentally and physically.
Yeah, and you guys did it really well. I got news for you. The Frederick Douglass Eagles Nation, it has come correct. They're online. Sharice has given me the signal telling me that folks are chiming in. Sharice, what do we have?
All right, so I have a question from Dave Walker.
Dave Walker.
Yes.
Okay.
It says, compared to the Douglass team in 2014, how does the 2018 team compare?
Wow. It compares the toughness of the 2018 team because of the challenges that we had. 2014, we had a full tank, man. We just had a loaded deck.
Sure.
And so that was just, making sure that we didn't screw that up. 2018 deal was, we really played beyond, ourselves, and we coached. It was some very, very difficult coaching as well. A lot went into this season to get us to that point. And it was very satisfying, even though we didn't win the whole thing. It let us know that we're doing the right things to have us and, to be that successful.
Sharice?
Yes. All right, so I have another question from O. Wilson. This is for Coach P. It says, knowing all the great players Coach P has, which one has been the most influential to you as they came back to speak with you during playoffs?
I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to touch that one because I know there'll be a whole lot of people that would be upset if I left them out. But I would just go to say this. There's so much support, in our community. And you know, we're not braggadocious, we're not online, we're not doing a whole lot of that stuff, but our community is really low key but very supportive. And they come back, and it's a family in a tight-knit environment, and everybody plays a role. The history, Douglas has a strong history and foundation, and so and it comes about when we make runs like we did.
Well, and one thing about Frederick Douglass is you just don't talk about it. You be about it. Isn't that what the saying is? You don't talk about it. Because when you go into the school and you go and you walk the hallways, you can feel that. And we caught some of that on camera as we followed you guys around heading into the state title game. We're going to show the folks at home about Frederick Douglass community, and then I'm going to get the comments from the young men on that and what really that community means to you. But for the folks at home, take a look at this. Frederick Douglass says they're about community, and they are about community. Take a look at this.
It means a lot, man, because it really displays what Douglas is all about, you know, being family-oriented.
Frederick Douglass High School is unique in that we have a number of parents who have made the decision to allow us to partner with them because they themselves were students here at Douglass. So they're part of the Eagle family.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here and be a part of your journey.
It represents who we are as Prince George's County. Students who are able to master being amazing football players, but at the same time being scholar athletes.
It just shows us that we're not in this by ourselves. The whole community is backing us up, and that just makes us work even harder.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah, that was a really cool day as you guys got ready for the state title game. You know, something that the school didn't have to do, but they did, just to show you, quote, the love that they had for the work that you young men had done on and off the field. What did it mean to you to know that the school came out and really supported you guys in things like that, and also during the game too?
It shows how much, you know, that community really does care about Douglas and care about the players and the students that are in the school. I felt very highly good about it. Like, now I know, like, you know, a lot of people don't like to come back and visit their schools. Like, I'm going to be one of them that come back and visit our school just because of how the community is and how everybody in Douglas is pretty much like family.
Strong words. Jody, what your thoughts on that?
You know, it felt amazing. Like, it kind of showed that not just people at Douglas cared, but everybody cared because, like, not just them, but during practice week, we had other coaches come in and talk about, you know, helping us.
Other players, too, as well.
Yeah, helping us, you know, trying to help us do this, you know, make sure everything's straight. It was just like it just felt like we had everybody behind us. It was just like, yeah.
And, Coach, I know you have worked long and hard to establish that community connection. I remember that day you had players from Syracuse and you had guys on video sending in messages of support. Just why was that so important for you to make sure that these guys knew that, hey, there's a community behind you?
It is important because, you know, I mean, you have to know of your past and your history to know where you're going. And, you know, with our 2014 team, I chose those members because, you know, some of those members had played in 2012 when we came up short. And then, you know, in return back for 2014 when we overcame. And they had great messages. And, you know, man, they were awesome kids. You know, I mean, they've experienced it when they were inexperienced coming into that game. And then, you know, a veteran, you know, and winning the whole thing. And I thought it would be a real good perspective for our young men coming into that.
Yeah, and big ups to CEO Golston, too, who made a cameo appearance as well, the interim CEO of Prince George's County Public Schools, who is used to be the principal there at Douglas. I know you know her well. All the things she had to do that day, she took some time to come by. I know that meant a lot to you as well.
That means a whole lot. You know, the way I feel about, you know, Dr. Golston now, you know, my former boss that was, you know, well, immediate boss at that time at Douglas. You know, I know how busy she is, and I know how much she loves our school and our community, and as far as what we do in our football program. You know, it meant a lot to me. She means a lot to me personally, and so I'm just happy to see her as the leader of our county.
Yeah, and doing an excellent job as well. Sharice, I'll get back to you here in just a second. Let's take a look at Championship Day, because that's what this week was all about. Community, school, getting ready for Championship Day. You took on a very difficult team in Fort Hill at my old stomping grounds, Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. Yes, I have the shirt on. I went to Naval Academy, but enough about me. Let's take a look at the day. There were some ups and some downs, but again, the Frederick Douglass community came out strong. Let's take a look at Championship Day.
It is raining and it's cold at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. Captain!
I told Mark, I said, Mark, this you.
He's looking downfield. Got a receiver.
I seen the safety go to the other side and I just let it rip.
How about that? Got him up the sideline on a wheel route.
We knew they was going to be aggressive, be physical.
It's gone at the 42. Falls forward to the 45. Malik Petway.
Go Eagles!
I thought we played extremely hard. We left it all on the field.
And it's a familiar sight to all of us, but there's the Sentinels of Fort Hill celebrating yet another Maryland State championship. But again, tip your cap to Douglas. They had a lot working against them in this game.
I really want to express to you, man, how thankful I am, man, that you guys, man, allowed us to coach you.
Remember, man, we fought. We went through everything, knew that we would stick together the whole ride.
Coach P is like probably the best coach I've ever played with. I will always go to war for that man, and all the coaches on the staff, they show so much belief in me.
Ain't that bad, guys. Ain't that bad right now. Ain't that bad right now.
Weeks later. What's it mean to you, Coach, when a player who unprompted says, hey, you know what, I go to war with that guy any day of the week? I'm assuming it makes you feel good, but just from a coaching standpoint, that's got to be what it's all about?
That is. That's, you know, I mean, we're certainly not in it for the money. And so, you know, you just hope that you can pass along messages and you know, just some type of insight and wisdom on to the people that's coming after you and help them achieve their goals. And with that, you know, you have to take the training wheels off and let them fly a little bit.
Sure. And
you got to show that you believe in them. And the whole thing is for us, we want to get the most out of the guys that play for us, and I think we're doing that.
Speaking of getting the most out of players, Jody, what a great run you had through the playoffs. There weren't a lot of people who thought you would beat Dunbar, the #1 team in that region, but you guys were able to do that and did it in pretty convincing fashion as well. You were physical, you were dominant. One of the reasons was because of the running of this young man. Just talk about your mindset going into that game and how you guys were able to physically control that game.
I mean, going into the game, you know, watch film and all that, you know, I was impressed. I'm not going to lie. I was impressed by the team, but they didn't seem unbeatable. You know, every team that we played looked beatable. So, you know, I was like, I seen a couple of guys go down. I started getting some reps because they said I might have to start playing this week at running back. So, you know, I was doing my best offense and defense, running the plays, calling the plays. And, you know, going into the game day, you know, I woke up early, do my routine, go to McDonald's, give me Egg McMuffin with no meat, hash brown.
Egg McMuffin?
And I just treated it like it was just another day, like it was just another game to be played. And we went in there, I saw them, and I was like, dang, that's a big team.
Yeah.
But, you know, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So we came in there, we hit them. You know, we had some mistakes, some, you know, ups and downs here and there. But we came through with the victory and we fought hard.
Yeah, that big run was one of the differences in the game. As we go to the championship game, big catch by you. I mean, what's it feel like? You know that play, and I asked your quarterback when he let it go, did he know he had you? And he said yes. From your end, when you got behind that DB, did you know you had him there?
Yeah, I knew I had him off the break because when he called the play, you know, I got a little nervous, but I knew that I could beat that dude. Yeah. So it's like I did my route. He bit hard inside, but I knew I'm faster than him, so I knew I could just easily run right past him. My main focus is just catching the ball.
Not so easy in those big stadiums. Yeah. I know later in the game you took a hard spill, got banged up a little bit, and they had to bring the stretcher in. Certainly the folks who were watching it from the sidelines were a little nervous, but we're hearing now that health-wise you're okay. Yeah. Give us an update on how you're feeling, and it's good to see you here, by the way.
I'm feeling real good. I'm just blessed that it wasn't really nothing serious and that I'm okay, that I'm able to walk again. It's just, that was a scary scene, just laying there on the ground, just not feeling yourself. So I'm just blessed that I can be able to be here today and just be able to walk on my own.
And you will be back 100%, everything going. And you're running track now, so I guess you're okay.
Yeah, I've been cleared for everything that they've been checking for. So I just go to do checkups just to make sure everything is fine and dandy.
Way to fight back and rehab and do all that. We wish you the best of luck in the rehabilitation process. Let's get back over to Sharice as we wrap things up. Sharice, what are they saying? What's the chatter out there? What's going on with the Frederick Douglass Nation?
All right, so I have a comment from a Thomas Butler. It says, I'm so proud of my Douglass team, the coaches, and the players. And speaking of, Mark, we were just talking about your injury, and we have a question. How were you able to cope mentally after that?
I was just, the way I coped about it was I was just thinking about the good possibilities of it. Like, I was just staying positive, because an injury like that, you have to stay positive. Like, it's nothing, you can't be negative because you'll get a negative impact. So just throughout, I was just staying positive, staying uplifted, just being myself through an injury.
Not always easy to bounce back from that, but you've done that very well. Are we ready for trivia now, Sharice?
Yeah, we're ready.
To wrap this thing up.
Ready for
this
trivia.
is really my favorite part. This is my favorite part of the show. This really is my favorite part. We always have fun here. What we do for the folks at home, I'll let Sharice explain it more here in just a second. But we just have some fun because we've talked about the season and academics and all that kind of stuff. Now let's chill and kick back and have a little fun with some trivia. Sharice, what do you have?
All right. So my first question is Douglass related.
Okay. And if they get it right, what are they going to hear?
They're going to hear a.
Okay. If they get it wrong.
We don't have,
we've
never had a
sound
wrong
effect for
answer.
that. That's in the budget
that's
next
usually
year.
What we do.
That's in the budget next year. So we'll get that. But these questions can be anything. You guys can come amongst yourselves to get the answers. You can even talk to your parents who are off to the side here. They may know as well, but you got to give one answer here in the last couple minutes. What do you have there, Sharice?
All right. So my first question is, what year was Frederick Douglass High School founded?
Is Principal Scott? He might be online. He might
come out of nowhere after he heard that question.
On the answer. The year it was founded.
It started in, because we're at the newer location.
Yeah.
So,
parents.
I
Parents' hands are over there going.
Is that 25 or 30? I want to say 1934.
You want to say 1934? What do you, okay.
That's it.
Is that the final answer? Final answer? Okay. Oh, Coach coming in big. 1934.
I was thinking 78.
No. Hey. Wow.
Hey, Coach. Hey, Principal Scott just hit me up and said, hey, you still got a job.
Thank you, Mrs. Scott.
There you go. What's the next one?
So this one is music related.
Okay. Maybe the young guys will get
this
one.
We'll see. All right. Now, which popular 2000s R&B boy group just announced a tour? Is it Day 26 or B2K?
What?
They're 2000s group.
I'm old. Man, I'm really getting old.
I gave two choices.
What's the first one?
I don't know.
What, Day 26 or B2K?
Or B2K.
I only heard of Day 26. That's the only question I heard of.
You heard of that?
That's the only.
I'm thinking
I heard of B26.
B2K. But
B2K, yeah, that's only heard.
So we'll go with Day 20.
Day 26.
Is that it?
I've never heard of Day 26. But hey, it's.
I heard the name before. It sounds familiar.
One answer. What we got?
Day 26?
We'll go B2K.
Yeah.
All right,
B2K. Sometimes we know.
So B2K is the group with Omarion.
Yeah, Omarion and all them. They were good. I didn't know
they were.
Yeah, they're coming back. They're coming back with
I was going to say
tour.
Boys to Men, but that was like 1990.
I was thinking the same.
That was the 90s? Okay.
All right, so 2 for 2 right now. We have one more. Is this going to be the school that gets
all three
questions correct? All right.
I think we might have to put a curtain up between parents and performers here.
Okay.
Just joking. Go ahead.
They told us
My
the
last
wrong
question.
answer.
Now, Alfonso Ribeiro, who was known for playing Carlton on The Fresh Prince, and 2 Millie, the creator of the Millie Rock, are suing which video game for stealing their dances, the Carlton and the Millie Rock.
The Carlton dance?
Yes, the Carlton dance and the Millie Rock.
Fortnite.
It's Fortnite.
It's Fortnite.
All right.
Yeah, I knew that.
Hey! 3 for 3.
I knew that one.
Well, hey, you guys,
Hey, nice
I
job
think you're
over
the only ones who got all the answers.
I think so.
And you know what? You're state titleists, so you know that's state title contender. So we expect you guys to do the best. But on a serious note, really appreciate you, Coach, for all the work that you do in the county. Appreciate you for bringing in the young men on this Sunday over the holidays. Parents as well, we appreciate you. Mark continued in your rehab, in your recovery. Look forward to seeing you continue in that. Jody, outstanding job. Want to just continue to say, keep doing great work there as well. And thanks to the Frederick Douglass community, because this episode, I think, has got like over 10 or 11,000 views on Facebook and YouTube combined. So you guys always do a great job. So we really appreciate having you today.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and there's no doubt about that. We will see you next year. Sharice, we appreciate you for all you've done. Ron, who is our great engineer. We appreciate all of you folks out there who've watched all year long as we've done this great show for the young people in Prince George's County Public Schools. So happy holidays to everybody. We'll see you on the other side. Ron, let's take it out on this last little clip. We will see you guys next time.